So welcome everyone, this is Professor CA Rohit Shroff and I welcome you on behalf of JK Shah classes. In this particular video, we are going to discuss the RTP of May 2024. Before you go ahead my friends, I would insist all the students who have not seen the relevant update lectures of SA 800 series, SRE, SAE, SRS, Digital Audit, Sustainable Development Growth, firstly complete those lectures if you have less of time, at least on 2x, because all those topics are going to be important. Secondly, all those students have already completed everything and are watching this video, I would suggest pause the video, read one question, take a rough book out, analyze, try to write at least the keywords, the main points, what should be the answer as per you. Then see the suggested answer, evaluate what mistakes are you making, what is ICI writing in the suggested. It will help you to analyze what is ICI expecting out of you and what you are writing, so you can do well in your examinations. Also for MCQ, I would suggest pause the video, you read the question, read it along with me, and along with the video try to write those answers and analyze what is the answer given in the suggested. If you just put this on 2x and just blindly just watch the video, you might not be able to crack it in the exam, you might not be able to recollect. So take a pause. This is a very short description. I'm keeping it very crisp. All the points which are very clearly covered in our volumes, very clearly discussed in our lectures. I will not waste a lot of time. I will discuss more questions which we have not covered. I see I've added new questions. So this is going to be crisp, but this is the way that you should solve this particular RTP. Without wasting any further time, let us move ahead with our discussions of MCQs. Firstly, the multiple choice question. Case study number 1. Now, Mr. Ayush, the proprietor of BCD and Company, Chartered Accountants, was appointed to audit the financial statement of Amrita Private Limited for the financial year 22-23. This financial statement were prepared with the Dutch GAAP, that is Dutch Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, and the terms and conditions specified in the contract between Amrita Private Limited and Dutch Industries Private Limited, known as BV in Dutch. One of the terms and conditions of the contract was to get financial statement audited from an independent auditor. The contract also stipulated auditors take into account misstatements of 5,000 or more while framing their report. Any misstatements identified below the threshold limit did not correct or adjustments in the terms of stipulation in the contract. While planning the audit, the team determined the performance materiality at 10,000 and overall materiality at 2 lakhs. Now, the following information extracted from the general purpose financial statement of Amrita Private Limited in accordance with the provision of the Companies Act were: turnover in crores, borrowing, paid up capital. The borrowing of the bank consisted the working capital credit facilities only. So borrowing had only working capital. The company had been enjoying the credit facilities with the sanction amount of 75 crores in the year 21-22. Credit facilities were enhanced to 100 crores at the beginning of 22-23. Outstanding balance in the credit facilities have never crossed the sanction limit at any time during each of the above years. Mr. Shubham, the partner at BB and Associate Chartered Accountant firm, was appointed as engagement partner for audit for general purpose financial statement of Amrita Industries Private Limited for the year 22-23. Before finalizing audit plan, BB and Associates asked the internal audit reports. However, the management informed him that there was no internal audit team or the function in the organization. So they said there is no internal audit team or the function. During the course of audit of general purpose financial statement, Mr. Anand, an executive, performed risk assessment procedure, test of controls, and substantive procedures. He performed trend analysis to compare the purchases of raw materials for the various months. He had performed purchases of production cycle, analysis to understand inventory holding. Besides going through the company's internal control manuals and visiting the company's plant, inquiries were also made with the company's system personnel to provide about the control failures. So they did risk assessment, they performed test of control, substantive procedure, trend analysis, as well as inquiry. Now, diligent inquiries were also made from the company's marketing personnel regarding the contractual agreement with the customer. So, can we do so? Yes. Inquiries were made from the company's in-house legal counsel, were also made from the external legal counsel by sending a letter of inquiry. Can we do so? Yes, no problem here. Now, while issuing the report, BCD and company inserted other matter para in the audit report for the use of special purpose framework. Why special purpose frameworks? Here we were asked to prepare it in accordance with the Dutch gap. So hence this is a special purpose framework. So they added this in the other matter para. On the other hand, BB and associate decided to issue adverse opinion on all financial statement except cash flow and an unmodified opinion on the cash flow. So on the overall financial statement, they were giving adverse, but however, on cash flow, they are trying to give unmodified. We'll discuss whether this is correct or incorrect. Let us just complete the question first. As BB and associate, the cash flow forecast was prepared as per the required method and hence did reflect the appropriate figures. Now, a lot of times when you go through the multidisciplinary case or this case study based questions, you can crack a lot of questions without reading the case study as well. But a lot of times, when we focus, a lot of teachers recommend to directly read the questions. But in case if you are, stuck in 1 or 2 points, eventually you will keep on finding, okay, where is this point mentioned? Where is this point mentioned? A lot of times you end up reading the whole passage twice. So it may take 1 or 2 minutes. I would suggest go in the flow, finish the case study and then go to the questions. Okay, in the process of saving like probably 2 or 3 minutes, you might end up wasting 2 or 3 minutes and you may not have confident answers as well. So what is the question number 1 trying to say? The team BCD and company were not sure which materiality to choose to evaluate the effect of identified misstatements on the audit and uncorrected misstatements, if any, of the financial statement in order to form an opinion and conclude as to whether the auditor has obtained reasonable assurance whether the financial statement are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. You are required to guide the audit team by selecting appropriate options from the above. In case of special purpose framework, the management may agree with the intended users on the threshold below which the misstatement identified will not be corrected or otherwise adjusted, correct? The existence of such threshold does not relieve the auditor from the requirement to determine the materiality in accordance with 320 for planning and performing the audit for special purpose framework. Absolutely correct. If you recollect our discussion in the classroom, we have decided under special purpose framework, we may have a contract with the intended parties below which we will not correct or anything, but our responsibility of setting materiality under 320, we are not getting done away with it. We will have to set our own materiality level as well as the performance materiality level as per 320. If luckily the answer A itself is correct, we need not go through the other options. So your A is going to be the correct answer. Moving on to the second part. Mr. Manish, the audit manager of BCD and company, objected to the insertion of other matter paragraph in the report. According to him, there is no such requirement to insert other matter paragraph to disclose the use of special purpose framework. My friends, if you recollect our special purpose framework discussion or also our 706 standard, in case if you are using a special purpose framework, we will use emphasis of matter para. We will not be using other matter para. See, emphasis of matter, if you want to highlight the user's attention, if it is fundamental to the user's decision, then we will include this matter in the emphasis. So everything is correct. We just want to highlight the user's attention that this is not a normal financial reporting framework. This is a special purpose framework. See, other matter we give whenever it affects our ARR. It affects my audit. It affects my auditor's responsibility. It affects my audit report. Here, none of them are affected. Here, what we should end up giving is emphasis of matter para. So here, answer D is going to be an appropriate answer. That auditor's report on special purpose framework shall include emphasis of matter para. Users of the audit report that the financial statement are prepared in accordance with the special purpose framework. Manageable so far? Let's go ahead. Mr. Chitrang, the audit manager of BB and Associate Chartered Accountant, is seeking your guidance in drafting separate opinion on the cash flow and other financial statement. See, let us go through a small discussion that we have already had. If you are giving an adverse opinion on the overall financial statement or a disclaimer of opinion, you cannot give an unmodified opinion on a single element of the financial statement. Why? Because this is contradictory. When do you give an adverse opinion? Adverse opinion is given when the matter is material as well as pervasive. What do you mean by pervasive? It affects multiple elements. Now, when you're saying it is affecting multiple elements, how can you give an unmodified opinion on one single element? It might be affecting that element as well. So, both are contradictory. One way at one instance you're saying it is pervasive, and other instance you're saying no, here in this element there is no effect. So, here in this case, they are saying on cash flow, you want to give an unmodified opinion. If the matter is pervasive, you have given an adverse opinion, it will definitely be affecting cash flows as well. Hence, can you give two different opinion here? No. So, if you are giving an unmodified opinion, you can, adverse opinion or disclaimer, you cannot give an unmodified opinion on the same. So, answer here is going to be A. When the auditor considers it necessary to express adverse or disclaimer of opinion on the financial statement as a whole, auditor shall not include unmodified opinion with respect to the same financial reporting framework on a single financial statement or one or more specific elements, accounts or items of the financial statement. So, answer here is going to be what? A. Next, question number 4. The company has violated the provisions of the Companies Act but not appointing the internal auditor. Which of the following statement is likely to be correct reason for necessitating appointment of internal auditor and for matters relating to appointment of internal auditor for the financial year 22-23 in the described situation in accordance with law? See, under internal audit, when do you appoint an internal auditor? Internal auditor is appointed under section 138 in case of a listed entity, in case of a public company, in case of a private company. But for public company, we will appoint, what is our code? We will say double profit before tax. What is D? Deposits. What is P? Paid up share capital. What is B? Borrowing. What is T? Turnover. If the deposit is 25 crores or more, or now what was our code? Double profit before tax. Now double every amount. What is double of 25? 50. What is double of 50? 100. What is double of 100? 200. In case of private company, deposits and paid up share capital, they do not accept deposit, nor is the paid up share capital so much. So there we will consider only B and T, that is borrowing should be 100 crores or more, or the turnover is 200 crores or more. Now, in this particular case, we are talking about a private company. So, we will have to consider these limits. Borrowings is 100 crores or more. And in case of turnover, it is more than 200 crores. So, whenever we check applicability, we will check the figures of the previous year. So, here, if we talk about 22-23, we will not talk about the figures of the current year. We will talk about the figures of the previous year. Now, though the borrowing is less than 100 crores, but is the turnover greater than 200 crores? Yes. So, in this case, internal audit is going to be applicable. Let us go to question number 4. The company was required to appoint internal audit during the financial year 22-23. It has fulfilled its condition relating to the turnover for the year 21-22. Correct? Such internal auditor may either be an individual or a partnership firm only. No. In case of an internal audit, it can be a consultancy firm as well. Can an internal auditor be a body corporate? Yes. So here so far they had written everything correct, but however, this particular point is wrong. So this cannot be the answer. Here they are saying the company was required to appoint internal auditor during the year 22-23 as it had fulfilled all necessary conditions relating to the turnover, borrowing from the banks and the paid up capital during the year 22-23. Such internal auditor may have been individual, partnership or a body corporate. But here we will see the turnover of the previous year. So B can also not be the answer. C is the appropriate answer. We will see the limits in 21-22 and a firm, individual or a body corporate can also be appointed. So answer here is going to be C. Next, Mr. Anand, an executive, has performed various procedures during the course of audit. Which of the following procedures, combination of procedures, is or are not likely to be considered as a risk assessment procedure? So, what do we apply in case of a perform various procedures which can be considered as risk assessment procedure? To easily memorize what are the risk assessment procedures, we will become Tushar Kapoor of Golmaal. We will say IAO. What will say? IAO. What is I? I is inquiry. What is A? Analytical procedure. Last, observation and inspection. So whenever they ask you what are the risk assessment procedure, we'll say IAO. Now, firstly, performing trend analysis through company's internal control. Going through manuals and visiting the plant? No. So here they are saying visiting. Inquiries from the management? Okay. Communication, which here the question is which are not likely to be considered. So so here we are performing trend analysis. So this is analytical procedure. Okay. Here do we inquiry? This is also risk assessment. Communication with the external legal counsel by sending a confirmation. So here you are sending an external confirmation. This is SF 505. This is not part of inquiries. And lastly, inquiry made by the company's information to the personnel to provide. This is again inquiry. So answer here is going to be C, because C is not a part of what? Risk assessment procedure. With this, we are done with what? The first case study, that is the integrated case study of MCQs. Let us move ahead with the independent MCQs. Safe Health Insurance Limited is a company working in the field of health insurance. It is now claiming that the management system where incoming claims can be immediately identified on the website itself. A form is issued to the customer who signs it. The details are verified by the system against the data present in it. Such system has allowed faster processing of claims, error-free and data validation, and increase customer satisfaction. In the respect of the situation regarding the working of insurance health of a company in the health insurance sector, which of the following technologies? So what they are doing is whatever was done manually, they are shifting it automated. So this is nothing but what? Robotic process automation. So what is robotic process automation? Whatever process a human used to do, the same process will be done by a robot. So this is nothing but what? Robotic process automation. Question number 7. Bansal Arora and Company, a chartered accountant firm, is currently performing an audit of Wool Limited. Sizable manufacturing company, Mr. Bhavesh Bansal, an experienced audit team partner, holds the responsibility for ensuring that engagement team aligns with the professional standard, adheres to the regulatory requirement, and complies with the legal obligation. His duties encompass the overall supervision, direction, and final issuance of the audit report. While conducting the audit, the engagement team encounters a complex issue pertaining to the valuation of the company's inventory. Within the team, there are difference of opinion of how to address the matter. So this we have discussed. Since this is related to audit, this what they are talking about is essay 220. In case of engagement performance, there can be some contentious matter, there can be matter which are difficult matters. We'll have to take a consultation on the same. In case if there is a difference of opinion, we'll take consultation. We will have to resolve those matter as per the policies of the firm. So here answer has to be C, that Mr. Bhave should ensure appropriate consultation occurs within the engagement team, if necessary with individuals at appropriate level within or outside the firm. So this was our essay 220. Alexa Private Limited has been operating in India for the past 15 years with 3 group companies, 1 subsidiary in India and other 2 in Singapore and Germany. The acquisition of these subsidiaries was gradual, with control obtained after initial investments. The statutory auditors have determined that all group companies are significant for the audit of consolidated financial statements. So all group companies are significant. For the year ending 31st of March, the audited financial statements of all companies are available except the German company, whose audit has been delayed and won't be completed before the release date of the CFS. So here in this case, if we do not have the financial statement of one component, what we have to do is modify the opinion. We have discussed this particular part in discussion of the chapter of consolidated financial statement. So here if they do not provide it, we may have to modify the opinion. So if the auditor does not receive the audited financial statement of German company, what he should do is modify his opinion, because we do not have the evidence, we will not be able to give an opinion here. So with this, we are done with our discussions of MCQs. Moving ahead with a discussion of the descriptive questions. So first topic, they are giving us about the standards on auditing, statements and the guidance note. Question number 9. Now, while conducting the audit of Quantum Mechanics Limited, Mr. Manoj, the audit manager, identified significant payments made by the company for legal and retainership fees related to litigation. The litigation pertained to Tirunelli manufacturing plant situated on the forest land reserved for the elephant corridor, which was declared illegally constructed. The company had received a notice to decommission the plant by 31st of May 22, but it had challenged the decommissioning order in the High Court and the matter is still pending there. The company has not disclosed the information related to litigation in the financial statement for the year 22-23. The Tirunelli plant accounted for 75% of the company's total annual production, and the audit team expressed concerns that decommissioning could significantly disrupt the potential leading to bankruptcy. So it may affect the going concern as well. The audit was near completion when Mr. Manoj sought advice from the audit partner, Mr. Salab, on this matter. He suggested that no immediate action from the auditors necessary from the auditors as the matter was still pending under the Kerala High Court. However, Mr. Manoj feels that situation requires action from the auditors and to be indicated in the report, whose views seems to be appropriate. Comment with reference to the applicable standards on auditing. So here in this case, if we think so there is non-compliance with the laws and regulation, we may have to modify our opinion. Since they have not given the disclosure, we may have to express a qualified or a adverse opinion. Also, since 75% of the revenue from was for that particular plant, it may also affect our going concern. So we also need to consider our impact on the going concern. So a basic question where we have to mention about SA 240 or modify the opinion as per 705, also consider the effect under 570 under going concern. Next, question number 10. You are appointed as the statutory auditor of Supreme Limited and are in the midst of conducting annual audit for the financial year ending 31st of March. During the course of audit, you come across a situation involving recording of purchases amounting to 1.5 crores from company incorporated on 18th of March. Upon further inquiry, you discover that purchase have been booked at the instance of one of the director. Further, despite these entries in the books, no payment was made and there is lack of documentary or other evidence validating the purported purchases. How would you deal? So somewhere this is giving us an indication that there might be a fraud. Whenever they talk about fraud, we will have always give mention of three things. We will talk about what? SA 240 year firstly, since there is a risk of fraud. We will also talk about 143.12. If the fraud is greater than 1 crore, we may have to go and report to the CG as well. And under Caro also, we will have to report it under clause 11. So here, since it is talking about fraud, we will give mention of SA 240. We will furthermore report it under 143.12 to the central government, and also will report under clause 11 of Caro 2020. So again, a basic question which we have already covered in our question bank. Moving ahead with the materiality, risk assessment and internal control. While assessing the impact of uncorrected misstatements in the audit of Manhattan Constructions Private Limited, Mr. Sushil encountered a significant issue related to the calculation of materiality on sales. The initial materiality calculation was based on estimated figures provided by the management. Notably, during the estimation of the full year sales, the management extrapolated from the actual amount of 11 months to derive the 12 months of sale. However, given the nature of the Manhattan Construction as a company in the construction sector, where monthly sales exhibited substantial variation, a unique change emerged. So the actual sales for the last month deviated significantly from the estimated sales due to unforeseen increase in the stamp duty rates imposed by the government in that region. As a result, the last month's sales represents only 25% of the estimated sales. Now, Sushil is confronted with a dilemma approach regarding the uncorrected misstatement using previously calculated materiality. Now, in case if there are uncorrected misstatements, we may have to revise our materiality level. Here the sales have been only 25% of the estimated sales. The materiality may go down. If the materiality level goes down, we may also have to revise our performance materiality. See, if the materiality level had gone up, we may not change our performance materiality or our NT. But since the materiality level is going down, I will have to change my performance materiality levels as well. So asset 240, evaluation of the misstatements identified in the audit. The auditor is required to reassess materiality in accordance with 320 before evaluating the impact of uncorrected misstatement. This reassessment is crucial to confirm the ongoing appropriateness of materiality in the light of entity's actual financial result. The determination of materiality under 320 often relies on estimates of the entity's financial result, given that the actual results may not be known during the early stages of the audit. Therefore, before the auditor proceeds to assess the effect of uncorrected misstatement, it becomes necessary to adjust materially calculated under SA 320. Okay, so in this case, we may have to change the materiality. We may also have to reassess the performance materiality since the materiality amount is going down. So this was about reassessing of the materiality. Next, moving ahead with the related services. Brown Enterprise Limited has huge funds locked up in the trade receivables standing at around 100 crores as at the 31st of March 23. The management of the company wants to evaluate the validity of the trade receivables to ensure reliability of financial reporting at the year end. The accounts department has provided a list of the trade receivables to the management containing about 1,000 names, their balances and the contact communication details spread in different parts of the country. The company's management has requested CA Karuna to take up this assignment and prepare a report for the management in accordance with the professional standard. Despite not being the statutory auditor of the company, she decides to accept the above engagement. So what are the two questions asked? By explaining nature of the engagement described above, discuss whether it is proper to accept. Yes, we can accept this engagement. There is no problem here. This is a related service. Even if we are not the statutory auditor of the company, we can accept this. While reporting, which precaution should be taken by her? So let us go through this. What precautions should we take? So firstly, this is what SRS 4400. The reference to the auditor SRS does not imply that person performing related services needs necessarily to be the auditor of the financial statement. Hence, a person performing related service need not necessarily be the auditor, which we already discussed. Part B, what are the precautions that we need to take? The statement that the procedures performed do not either constitute audit or review. So we need to understand that there is no assurance expressed. A statement that the auditor has performed additional procedures and audit or review other matters have come to light. So we'll tell them if we had performed what audit or review other matters would have also come to light. A statement that the report is restricted only to those parties that have agreed to the report. And lastly, a statement that the report relates only to the elements, accounts, items on the non-information and it does not extend to the entity's financial statement taken as a whole. So basically, see, this is kind of a new question, but however, if you have attended the lecture, in our lectures, in the question bank, we had discussed one question. What points have to be kept in mind in inclusion of the report specifically for such engagement? So the precautions point that they have added, they have taken up from this particular answer. So here, a statement that the procedures performed do not constitute audit or review. A statement that had we performed additional procedures, other matters would have come to light. A statement that report is restricted to those parties that have agreed. A statement that report relates only to the elements. So they have taken this point from this particular answer. So basically we have already covered, but these are kind of what now you need to understand. They are calling this as what? Precautions. Okay. So make sure you once go through this particular question. Next, question number 30. Star Limited has outsourced its payroll processing functions to a service organization called as Little Solutions Private Limited. Little Solutions Private Limited is responsible for accurate preparation of the payrolls and timely remittance of statutory dues to the government authorities on behalf of the company. So we have outsourced that particular job to Little Solutions Private Limited. Little Solution Private Limited controls related to the timely remittance of payroll deduction to the government authorities are relevant to the company, as late remittances could result in interest and penalties resulting liabilities of the company. The auditors of Star Limited want to be sure about the description, design, operating effectiveness at the Little Solutions throughout the year. In this regard, they require an assurance report from the auditors of Little Solutions Private Limited. Why are the auditors of Star Limited require an assurance report from the auditors of Little Solution? Which engagement and quality control standard casts such responsibility upon the auditor? So SA 402 applies to the user auditor, which requires that we obtain a report by the service auditor, where the report is given under SAE 3402. Which type of report should be provided by the auditors of Little Solutions? So here we wanted an opinion on the design, description, also on the operating effectiveness. So there are two types of report. Type 1 report gives the description. The service auditor will give us an opinion that the description is appropriate, they are suitably designed. But however, in the type 2 report, they will say that the description is appropriate. They will also say that they are suitably designed, but plus they will say that the operating effectively. So if we want our opinion on the operating effectiveness, then in that case we should take which type of report? Type 2. State the matters on which opinion is to be provided by the auditors. So let us go through the solution here. So when the user entity uses the services of the service organization, objectives of the auditor of the user entity are to obtain understanding of the nature and the significance of the services provided by service organization and their effect on the user entity's internal control to the audit, sufficient to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. Secondly, which SA casts responsibility? SA 402 on the user auditor and SA 3402 for the service auditor. Which type of report should be obtained? Type 2, because it will give us description, design and operating effectiveness as well. Lastly, the opinion of the auditors on Little Solution would give what? What will be included in the opinion? That the description is appropriate, that the control objectives are achieved, and lastly they have performed the test of controls. Controls are operating effectively, and they will also state what are the test of controls they perform and what were the results that they achieve. So this is what will include in the opinion. So this was something that we have already discussed under assurance services. Moving ahead with digital auditing. So digital auditing and assurance, the question is very straightforward here. What they are asking you is about blockchain technology. So we have already discussed in detail at length the blockchain technology. So for blockchain also, what they are asking is the common risk and what is the audit implication. So if you go to our volume 2, we have discussed what is blockchain, what are the audit implications. So here the auditor should consider the appropriateness of the governance, security and the transactions around it, the security around the transaction, as the blockchain interacts with the legacy system and business partner. Concerns related to insecure application, programming interferences, data confidentiality and privacy cannot be ignored. Auditors must be able to determine whether data put on blockchain will expose the expertise enterprise to liability for non-compliance with laws and regulation. Next, common risk for the blockchain. The strengths of blockchain can also be its weakness. The inability to reverse the transaction and access without the required keys make the system secure, but also mean that organization needs specific protocols and management process to ensure they are not locked out and have clear contingency plans. So here we have already covered this. It is the same question that we have discussed. You can refer through the volume. Next, special features of audit of banks and NBFC. Now, PDSG and associate are the statutory auditors of a scheduled commercial bank for the year 23-24. While evaluating the internal controls over advances, it came to their notice that the classification of the term loan borrower accounts into SMA as well is done in the system on the following lines. In case full dues are not received on a particular due date, a borrower account is immediately considered as overdue on the very last day. For example, if the due date of the loan account is 31st of March and dues are not received on 31st of March 23, it shall be considered as overdue on 1st of April. If it continues to remain overdue, the account is tagged as SMA on 1st of May. If it continues to overdue further, then the account is tagged as SMA on 31st of May. If it continues to remain overdue even after being tagged as SMA2, it is classified as NPA on 30th June. Evaluate the above controls designed by the bank in the system for the purpose of exercising control. Firstly, let us understand how do you classify an asset as an SMA. So, in case of standard asset is classified as SMA 0 if there are risk factors. So if the person has not paid on the due date up to 30 days, it will be classified as SMA 0. That is special mention account 1. If that borrower has not paid from 31 days to 60 days, he will be classified as SMA 1. If he has not paid from 61 days to 90 days, he should be classified as SMA 2. So it is classified under 3 categories: SMA 0, SMA 1 and SMA 2. So these are what how you classify it. Let us go through the answer here. Now the design of the above control instituted by bank system is not in accordance with the regulatory. Let us understand why. Now in the given situation, due date of the bank loan account is 31st of March and full dues are not received by the bank before it runs the end-to-day process. The due date for overdue shall be 31st of March and not 1st of April. So if he has not paid up to 31st of March, he should be treated as SMA. If it continues to overdue, then it should be tagged as SMA 1 upon running the day end process on April 30th. So if we consider from 1st of April, 30 days will end on 30th of April. So it should be classified as SMA 1 by 30th of April. Accordingly, the date of SMA 1 classification should be 30th. Similarly, now if we consider 30 days, another 30 days, that is from 61 days to 90 days, we will start counting from 1st of May. So 1st May to 30th of May. However, the dates that they have taken here are what? From rather than taking 31st March, they have taken 1st of April. Here it should be 30th of April where they have taken 1st of May. Likewise, they should be 30th of May where they have taken what? 31st of May. So there the difference here is of one day each. Hence the control set up by them are not appropriate. Next, question number 16. Comptroller and Auditor General appointed Saha and Associate Chartered Accountants to conduct performance audit of Herbal Limited, a public sector undertaking of a government of India. The firm conducted audit with the view to check that all expenses of the unit are in conformity with the public interest and publicly accepted customs. The audit report submitted by the audit firm was rejected by CAG. Give your opinion on the above. So here in this particular case, what they were appointed for what? Performance audit. The public sector undertaking government conducted audit to check that all expenses are in conformity with the public interest. See, this is done for what? Proprietary audit. In case of performance audit, we need to focus on 3 E's. What are the 3 E's? Economy, efficiency, effectiveness. However, the report that they have given is for proprietary audit. Hence, the report was obviously rejected by whom? CAG. So here they provided the report. The audit, all the expenses were in conformity, does not align with performance audit because performance audit focuses on what? 3A, 3E, that is economy, efficiency and effectiveness. So they have rated a lot of points here. Next, the rejection of the audit report submitted is warranted. This is because audit conducted primarily checking the conformity of the public interest does not align with the performance audit, which evaluate various aspects of economy, efficiency and effectiveness. Hence, the rejection of the report by CAG is appropriate. There is no problem. However, I would suggest just go through this particular answer once. Internal audit. CS Sanjana has recently joined Chief Internal Audit of Upscale Limited, a listed company. Her subordinate staff in the internal audit department brings to her knowledge of many prior audit issues highlighted in the previous internal audit report, which are still open. Does she have any responsibility in this regard? How should she proceed in this particular situation? So here, in case of internal audit, whenever we have recommended them what was the issues in the previous year or have given recommendations, management will always have to submit the action taken report. So here, internal auditor is usually in the form of action taken report on the previous audit. The term monitoring and reporting refers to periodic tracking of the issues raised during the previous audit. So here we have to evaluate whether they have taken the actions. If we have given any recommendations which they have accepted, we need to evaluate whether they have implemented the recommendations. Next is sustainable development growth and environment, social and governance assurance, which is a newly added topic. If you have attended the lecture, very glad, but in case if you have not, I would suggest please go on the dashboard and see this particular lecture. In case if you're short of time, at least on 2x, because you can definitely expect one question out of this. Now SEBI has made business responsibility and sustainability report mandatory for certain listed company. It is evolutionary step in the environment, social and governance reporting. Discuss the nature of ESG reporting. How can corporates contribute to sustainable development growth? So here, firstly, they have explained what is environment, they have explained what is social, what is governance. Then in ESG report can be both quantitative as well as qualitative in nature. For qualitative, we need to describe the company strategy, policies relevant to quantitative approach, which includes the key performance indicators. Then they have given the United Nations states that adopted members should adopt development provide blueprint which mentions sustainable development goals. They recognize that the ending poverty and other deprivation must go hand in hand. Corporates must contribute to sustainable development growth due to their capacity to provide solutions for meeting the sustainable development growth. So a question that we have already covered. Now professional ethics, basically these are all the old questions that we have done. I would suggest you must pause the video, go through the question and try to interpret which clause. In case if you cannot recollect, we will discuss the questions here. Firstly, CA Pankaj accepted the professional work of acting as a valuer under direct taxes. He accepted the fees on the basis of percentage. Can we accept? So yes, under clause 10 part 1 of the first schedule, if you can recollect our code LCM 4, D was direct taxes. If you are a valuer under direct taxes, you can accept a percentage, no problem. So here in this case, as per clause 10, we can accept it. As per regulation 192, we are allowed. States that a valuer for the purpose of direct taxes fees may be charged on the percentage and hence he is not deemed to be guilty of misconduct. Second, CA Anita joined as an audit executive in CA firm on 1st of April. Despite receiving multiple reminders from ICAI, she failed to respond to her appointment and submit the membership certificate. So somewhere, whenever ICAI is asking you for information and you do not reply, what we call is ICD-BDQA. What is ICD-BDQA? Institute, Council, any of its committees, Board of Discipline, Disciplinary Committee, Quality Review Board or Appellate Authority. If they ask for the information, we did not revert back, we will be guilty of misconduct under clause 2 part 3 of the first schedule. So in this case, we will be guilty of misconduct. Next, Mr. Johnny, a chartered accountant, was invited to a seminar on the bank audit to give presentation on the process of conducting such audit. During his presentation, he provided examples from his clients' experiences and shared significant information about the clients with the intention of aid in understanding the audience of the topic. Does the above situation implication have relation? Yes, we cannot disclose the confidential information. So here we will be guilty under clause 1 part 1 of the second schedule because we have disclosed the confidential information in the that we have obtained under the particular audit. Next, CA Tanya, the auditor of KBC, has delegated the following works. Issue the audit queries. So see, we can delegate the routine work, we cannot delegate non-routine. So routine and non-routine. I had given you a simple trick of how to crack this. Routine is where we are not expressing an opinion. If you are not expressing an opinion, this is routine. What is non-routine? Where you are expressing an opinion. So routine you can delegate, non-routine you cannot delegate. In issuing of queries, are we giving opinion? No. Hence this becomes non-routine. Can we delegate? Yes. Issue of memorandum of cash verification and other physical verification. So in this case, so letter forwarding of draft observation, issuing acknowledgements, is everything is, there is no opinion, hence it is non-routine, we can delegate it. But however, signing of the financial statement should not have been delegated. Here we are expressing an opinion, so this will be called as what? Routine, and hence we cannot delegate this particular task. So with this, we are finally done with a discussion of RTP of May 2024. Here, my friends, there has been a lot of changes in the new syllabus. In case if you are a student who have not seen the lectures of SA 800 series, SRE, SAE, SRS, or digital auditing, or sustainable development growth, I would suggest firstly you go through those particular chapter, though it may be very less time that you have, but at least see it on 2x and go for the examination. Thank you very much. With this, we put an end. Hope to see you soon with a prefix, that is a chartered accountant. All the best for your examination. If you have any doubts, you can reach out to us on helplines. You have the doubt solving sessions on the Zoom. Whichever way you think we can help you, please connect with us and we'll be happy to help you. All the best once again. Thank you.